TikToks that feel illegal to watch. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Y'all want to hear some shit to really blow y'all's mind this morning? So, as a side hustle, I dig graves and graveyards and cemeteries across Bowling Green and surrounding counties.
All right.
Something didn't set right with me today. As I was digging, the guy that's the director of the graveyard walked up to me. And he was like, we need to lift that casket up to get it even. So we put it on a tally and brought it back up. When we brought it back up, it come off even in a way, but it was crooked in the corner. So he's like, we got to lift it. So I lifted it, me and him together. But the weirdest thing was, it was really light. Like, extremely light. Like, and I'm not a big dude. So I was like, I told him, I was like, why is that so light? He was like, don't ask questions that you ain't ready for.
Oh,
I'm
no.
freaked out. What are they doing with these bodies?
I don't know, man. Let me know how you feel about this.
1,000 push-ups a day, 1,000 sit-ups a day, 1,000 flutter kicks a day, 500 pull-ups a day, 4-mile ocean swims, tied up, hands behind your back, feet together, thrown in a pool, stuff like that. A lot of stuff to think about, a lot of timed drills where they'll kick you out if you fail. But the way that it was explained to me by a SEAL instructor, I don't know why he said this to me. He just liked me. He said, I know it seems like a lot to get from now to graduation day, but don't think about it that way. That's way too much. Here's how you get through SEAL training. Wake up in the morning on time, make your bed the right way, and then brush your teeth. You just started your day with 3 wins. That's a good way to start your day, 3 victories. Make it to the 4 a.m. workout on time. As I'm beating you, don't think about the pain. Concentrate on your next goal in life, which is breakfast. After breakfast, your next goal in life is lunch. After lunch, your next goal in life is dinner. After dinner, do everything you need to do to get back inside that perfectly made bed. And because you took the time for yourself in the morning to make your bed the right way, regardless of how bad today was, and it will be bad, tomorrow is a clean slate.
99% training, 1% questioning, the military complex. Who gives the order and why?
Famous one is the all-American breakfast. You get your eggs, you get your bacon, you get your sausages, you get your orange juice, you get your milk. But 100 years ago, that wasn't breakfast. A breakfast wasn't a thing. Edward Bernays, known as the father of propaganda, launched the breakfast campaign because the meat industry came to him and said, dude, we're slacking on meat sales. What can we do? So he's like, it's too hard to convince the average person. I need to go to the people that are already sources of authority. So what did he go and do? He went and convinced who? The doctors, the pediatricians, that breakfast was the most essential diet. With all these studies and all these experiments and all this bullshit, it was all paid propaganda. So Edward Bernays launches the breakfast propaganda campaign and turns breakfast into a rousing success. But he did it as well with cigarettes.
My body doesn't let me eat breakfast.
This video is not for the faint of heart. Watch if you're brave enough as a cruise ship navigates the famously rough waters of the Drake Passage. People can be seen tumbling into walls and bracing themselves as the ship gets tossed by the waves. The Drake Passage is one of the world's most treacherous waterways, where the Atlantic, Pacific, and Southern Oceans all collide above Antarctica. The result, wild weather and ferocious swells, also known as the Drake Shake.
Drake Passage has beef with Kendrick Lamar.
You actually lose weight eating pasta and bread in Europe. Eating a bowl of pasta and a basket of bread here, and you just feel like you want to go to sleep and you're in a bad mood and your gut blows up like a tick. But then you go to Italy or you go to France and you have a fat bowl of pasta and a basket of bread over there, maybe even a glass of wine. You feel amazing. Why is that? Well, because in 1993, chemical industry convinced the federal government that we needed to spray our entire grain supply with folic acid. All flour, all bread, all pasta, all cereal. Although we don't call it sprayed with folic acid, we call it enriched. Enriched foods are foods that are sprayed with folic acid. Folic acid is a man-made chemical that we make in a laboratory. You cannot find it anywhere on the surface of the earth. It does not exist naturally in Mother Nature. Doesn't sound like a big deal until you realize it's the most prevalent nutrient in the human diet. I'm not saying don't eat grains or rice or pasta or cereals or bread. I'm saying eat the non-fortified, non-enriched versions of those, the organic versions of those.
Why though? Why they sprayed in the beginning? For what reason?
Relazione tra cristianesimo e ebraismo. Che attingono dalla stessa fonte. Gesù ha vissuto qui. Parlava ebraico. Aramaico. Parlava aramaico ma conosceva l'ebraico perché conosceva gli scritti.
You know, Jesus was born from the house of David, Judean, and spoke Aramaic, Hebrew, and Greek, as already mentioned. Only Christians will understand this.
The Simpsons predict Pope Francis's death in 2025. Subscribe now before it happens. In a little-known episode, a coffin lies in St. Peter's Basilica, surrounded by cardinals. Kent Brockman announces that the Pope has died of a severe bronchitis. Black smoke rises from the Sistine Chapel chimney. No new Pope has been elected. A deep voice echoes, "A new era begins." Subscribe and comment Pope to send him strength.
If the Simpsons prediction is true, then why Donald Trump not dead in April 12, 2025?
Simpsons predictions for 2025. The Simpsons already predicted Trump winning in 2024, but in this episode from 2016, Homer can be seen wearing a badge that says Ivanka 2028, predicting Ivanka may run for president in 2028, and that in 2025 she will get even more involved in politics. She's already been seen in the White House many times, and it's believed Trump will pick one of his kids to continue his family's legacy. Another prediction is economic collapse. In an episode from the year 2000, The Simpsons show an economic collapse that happened during Trump's presidency.
As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump.
We're broke.
The country is broke.
Scarily, this may already be happening. Basic items like eggs have risen in price by 20% since the beginning of the year, and inflation is still very high. People are already losing their jobs and houses, and according to many experts, this will get even worse in 2025. Another prediction is self-driving cars going rogue. In one episode, Homer is in a self-driving car, but the car won't stop, taking Homer on a wild ride. In 2025, we've already seen this happen, with a man getting stuck inside a self-driving taxi. Another Simpsons prediction is the World Cup. In an episode from 1997, the World Cup was hosted in the USA, and Mexico and Portugal played in the final. The upcoming World Cup will take place in the USA, meaning that these teams may face off in the final. The US has not hosted a World Cup since 1994, which is before this episode even aired. Another prediction is colonizing Mars. In a 2015 episode, the USA plans to colonize Mars. The episode ends with a glimpse into the year 2050. A few years after this episode aired, Elon Musk announced his plans to put 1 million people on Mars by 2050, exactly lining up with the date in the show. Elon is now more powerful than ever, and it's believed Mars colonization may begin this year, with unmanned ships going to Mars.
Good to know. Friendly reminder, Jesus loves you.
If this isn't fake, why the are they looking at trinkets and looking at the camera more? They're looking out the window.
Yes,
yo, you're in space. They didn't even look at the window that much, bro. You know why? Because there's no space there. They're looking at a green screen. First off, someone on the inside opening the door. They f***ed up. Yeah. They weren't supposed to show that on camera. Real spaceships that go to space by NASA, fam, cannot be opened from the inside. No, they can only be opened from the outside. Yeah. Now, every single spaceship that came back down from orbit, the heat, yo, it's gonna burn up the spaceship. That look fine. Another detail, other space shuttles, they have windows that are very small because the structure of it cannot handle putting too big of windows because it's gonna break. That's true. But since this is all for show, they made the fucking windows so big and it just doesn't make sense. This is the spaceship going up. Yeah. Look at this part right there. You see it?
You see a glitch.
It gets a little bit bigger and smaller. The whole thing's fabricated, bro.
Yeah. If I wanted to go to space tomorrow and I wanted to AI that, I probably could with a good CGI. And I mean, it's very simple.
I will only believe it if ISO Speed goes to space.
The Pope is dead. So what happens now? Pope Francis was the head of the largest single religious denomination on earth with 1.4 billion followers. So to give you an idea of the enormous processes that have just been set into motion, there is an entire 400-page handbook that's only purpose is to guide religious officials through the countless rites and rituals of the funeral process. There's even a traditional method to verify that a pope has died, which is calling the Pope's name 3 times with no response. Pope Francis, however, overhauled the entire book last year to simplify the processes. His reasoning was to emphasize that a pope should not be seen as a powerful man of this world, rather simply a disciple of Christ. Just 2 of the many changes that he made was that 1, he will no longer be placed in the traditional 3 coffins made of cypress, lead, and oak, and 2, he also didn't want to be buried in the Vatican like most, rather in the Basilica of St. Mary Major, which is about half an hour across Rome. The Pope's fisherman ring will be ceremonially destroyed, traditionally to prevent its use in forging documents, but also to symbolize the end of his authority. The Vatican has now also begun an official mourning period known as Novendiale, which lasts 9 days. Pope Francis's body will soon be placed in St. Peter's Basilica, where soon tens of thousands are expected to file past and pay respects in person. Following that, a grand funeral mass will be held in the same basilica, where countless world leaders and important figures will attend, and it will also be broadcast worldwide. Then, after all of that, the intense process of choosing a new pope will begin. And I say intense because high-ranking officials in the Catholic Church from around the world will make their way to Rome and go into what's called a conclave. Now, the word conclave itself comes from the Latin word cum clave, meaning with a key. And that's actually a nod to the old practice of locking these Catholic officials away until a decision is reached. That tradition began in the 13th century after one of the elections dragged on for nearly 3 years. So people in the town literally locked them in and removed the roof to hurry them up. And today's conclaves still honor that same spirit of seclusion. Once inside the Sistine Chapel, those officials cut off all communication from the outside world. No phones, no internet, no news, all to make sure that the deliberations are only guided by prayer and discussion. Now, who they choose and why is even more interesting. So I've made an even longer video and that'll go up on YouTube this evening. See you there.
I'm gonna be honest. I do not care.
You're in a mall. There's an active shooter. You gonna save everybody or are you gonna save your family?
My family. I will not lie to you. There's no way that I can't go back into that mall. The family goes to the car, and I'm going to get them to the car, and this is why we have 2 keys. That beautiful woman is going to take my beautiful kids, and they're going to get off the X, and I'm going to go back in and put that douchebag on the ground. There's no way that I could live with myself by not going in there.
Great answer.
Family's not with me, running towards gunfire, period. Family's with me, getting off the X.
Love it.
Green Beret or not, every man should have this same reaction.
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. Have y'all seen the video of that guy who said that his side hustle is a grave digger and that him and his coworker went to, do their job, and while they were lifting up the casket, he noticed that it was extremely light, and he asked his coworker, like, yo, why is this so light? And the guy was like, don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to. So then right after that, I saw this lady who used to work for the cemetery, and she pretty much said, like, there's no way all these people that have passed on, there's not enough room for them. There's definitely not enough room for them. And she was like, if you really want to know where they go, check your restaurant, check your grocery store.
Oh man, no.
She's like, I lied to you not. This is what's going down.
Really? Hey, there's room for the caskets, but not the body? Oh, New York, Paris, Barcelona, ooh, Berlin, nice. Ooh, Sicilia. Jakarta from above, pollution.
Fake friends is like full quarters. they had change for $1. I'm gonna say that again.
Oh, wow.
Fake friends is like 4 quarters. They change for $1, man. That'll be on the gram tomorrow.
Simple metaphor, but on point.
Those are like the guy parachutes. There go the drogue parachutes.
Just free falling right there until those drogues came out.
And then next will be the main parachutes that get pulled out.
Hear that screaming inside the capsule?
It's a very soft landing despite the sporty perception. There it is.
They're just girls having fun.
Let's talk about the Rothschild family and their surrealist ball and this photo. Now, if you don't know, the Rothschild family is literally one of the richest families in the world, like worth trillions. And I've done several videos talking about how they got their money, but basically they're this noble banking family that has been like super rich since the 16th century. They used to throw these elaborate balls each year. And some people got this picture and said that this is a picture of the family at one of the balls, and that this this figure right here was allegedly the nanny. The nanny is 7 feet tall. Yeah, okay. Then some people said that is absolutely not the nanny, that might be the guest of honor. Might not even be human. But anyways, let's get into this ball, y'all. Basically, they would have it at this chateau in France that was owned by Marie Rothschild and her husband Baron de Guy de Rothschild, something like that. They would have all kinds of elaborate parties. Like the wife loved to host. But when they went to the surrealist theme, y'all, it got real. So they made their chateau that was like, I'm talking about like Renaissance theme, one of the oldest and biggest chateaus in the area. And like, I'm talking about like so beautiful. They made it appear like it was like hell. Like it looked like the house was on fire. And as you're walking up, you will see these like big cat-like men, like literally dressed up like they're human cats, laying on the steps. Then they'll just get up and greet you because they're the butlers. Yep, cat butlers. With all kinds of cobwebs and spiders hanging out for you to be scared out of your mind. Then like the plates that was like taxidermic tortoises on a bed of roses. The forks was made out of dead fish. And the tables was like covered in real life animal fur. Like, it was weird. I guess that's the whole point of the surrealist theme, because it's basically like this artistic and cultural movement that started around the 1920s, primarily in France. It's basically like different elements of art and literature and all that good stuff combined, and it's supposed to be really cool. But yeah, here's some more pictures of, you know, the things that people wore and did at this ball.
What?
Yeah. Very interesting.
Creepy.
To me. Let me know what y'all think, and if y'all would ever attend a Rothschild's surrealist ball. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
That demon is the first Rothschild. Ooh. They removed the nose because you can follow history by the shape of nose. What do you think?
This man had a gay holiday fling with a Taliban terrorist. Toyosi Osidende became hooked on extreme travel and got friendly with a Taliban security guard at his hotel in Afghanistan. He says the guard kept checking up on him and eventually he invited him in to watch a movie, and things went from there. The pair kept seeing each other, filling their evenings by watching Gossip Girl, while the Taliban member showed off his guns. But it was just a holiday fling. Toyosi's trip ended with guns pointed at his head as he tried to leave the country. But now he's home safe, the pair are no longer speaking.
all Talibans are. It's no secrets. You know, the bacha batsi thing is literally their normal.
Activate a vehicle mode. Here we go. Screens come down. This is one of the most advanced robots in the world. I'm sitting in it. Come look.
Man.
All right, this is your screen for all the pre-set functions. Your lever here, emergency off, drive mode, so you can either pilot it yourself or switch that around and it's in remote mode. I'll show you that now. Ready? This will change.
Remote control mode.
Right. There you go. Oh, it's crushed it. So it can pick up very gently, or it can actually crush objects. And then if I could have it back, please.
Ooh.
Thank you. What do you think?
Prepare for Titanfall.
What would happen if you used rice water on your face every day for 2 weeks? Rice water has a lot of B vitamins, including inositol, niacin, vitamin B6, B2. All of these can help reduce melanin, which causes hyperpigmentation. This will help decrease the darker spots on your face, giving you a radiant, less dull appearance. Your skin will become softer with more hydration. If you ferment your rice water, you'll have more lactic acid, which matches the pH of your skin. This good bacteria and yeast supports the microbiome on your skin, giving you tighter pores and less acne.
So you boil rice and use the water, or just wash the rice in it and use the water?
Okay, breaking news. Turkey has just been hit with multiple earthquakes in the past hour, with the strongest recorded estimated to be around 6.2 in magnitude. Videos posted online show people running out of buildings onto the streets while car alarms go off. There's videos of waves rippling in the Sea of Marmara during the earthquakes, well, one of them that hit near Istanbul. And there's even a video of the moment when one of these earthquakes hits during a live broadcast on CNN Turkey.
Devam ettiğine biz şahit olduk.
Deprem oluyor. Çok şiddetli bir deprem oluyor şu anda. Çok şiddetli bir deprem oluyor.
Now, fortunately, as of right now, at least, it doesn't appear that there's any reports of injuries or casualties, but you can only imagine the panic that they would be feeling right now, because it's only been 2 years since the country was hit with an earthquake that ended up killing 56,000 people, making it the deadliest earthquake globally since Haiti in 2010. So, as the situation develops, I'll keep you guys updated.
It's very important to learn to speak in cadence. When you speak in cadence, and I do it, is people listen, they have time to process what you're saying, but they can also attach the emotion that goes with it. Who spoke in cadence? Churchill. Martin Luther King. I have a dream.
I have a dream.
One day, my children, powerful. Can you imagine if he stood up there and said, I have one dream that one day might, it's like, who would listen to that? But he was a preacher. And he knew how to command an audience. And when Churchill said, we will fight them in the air, we will fight them on the beach, right? The cadence is not just seductive, it is powerful. And a lot of executives don't know how to use it. I've been to presentations where people just let go. They're not even listening to what's being said. And yet somebody begins to talk to them in cadence and says, this is our offer. It is not final, but for the moment, it is our best offer. Now, you're paying attention. You're paying attention not just to what I said, but the emotion behind it. That's a lot better to say, well, this is not our last offer, but, you know,
there's a real authority when you slow things down just that little bit and provide the gaps.
Which goes back to what I said, who controls time, controls.
But women's cadence must be faster, or men will interrupt at the slightest pause. Oh, I think Obama speak with cadence.
To believe that if I was good to people, they'd be good to me. That if I showed loyalty, I'd get the same in return. But life doesn't work that way. Some people will take your kindness for granted. They'll mistake your patience for weakness. They'll use you, drain you, and then act like you never existed. And that's fine, because I've learned that the ones who truly matter will never put me in a position where I have to question their intentions.
Yep.
So I stopped chasing. I stopped explaining. I stopped trying to prove my worth to those who were too blind to see it. Now I move differently. I protect my peace. I choose my circle carefully. And I never ever beg for a place in someone's life. Because at the end of the day, I'd rather walk alone than be surrounded by fake love.
You notice all this in your 30s if you pay attention.
Do you know Oscar Wilde once said, "The world is a stage, but the players badly cast." And I think I know why he's saying those kind of things. For example, you see this kid here? This kid is called Barron Trump. He's the son of Melania and Donald Trump. Now, in 1889 to 1893, these books, these collection of books, were written. And the person inside of the books was called Barron Trump. Now, Ingersoll Lockwood wrote these books in 1889 to 1893. Now, I know a lot of you might be thinking that is just purely coincidence. There is no way whatsoever you can say that they knew this guy was going to be born. Okay, and you may be right, but do you see this guy here? That's Elon Musk. Now have a look at this. This here is Wernher von Braun. This here is Elon Musk. And in 1952, Wernher von Braun wrote a book called Project Mars. The main protagonist in this book was called Elon. Right here, Elon. This is what I'm saying when Oscar Wilde says the whole world is a stage, but this is just for entertainment only, TikTok. So if I was you, I'd definitely take all of these words on board for future reference. Oh, and if you're still not following me yet, what the flipping heck are you doing? Follow me, and then come over to my profile and tap this notification bell at the top of you and click all, so you don't miss none of my future uploads.
Barron Trump will be the last president. Intelligence would be about the same. Knowledge is greater now.
I recently told you about 114 survivors of trafficking that were rescued because of this man right here and his team. This is Lane. What was your role in helping rescue those people?
Our role was surveillance. So we landed in this country, drove across it, and then went around these scam compounds that have thousands of people being tortured, used for both labor and sexual trafficking. And we basically had a 360 camera on top of our car and did a lap around this place to identify where the exits, entrances, and for the Army and the nonprofits we work with to raid this place and rescue those victims. How are they going to do it?
And so this is my friend and his team that we're wanting to work with and support and celebrate and cheer on with their brave work. Thank you for what you do, Lane.
Thank you, dude.
Thank you for all you do, sir.
For the first time in 5 years, the US government will begin collection next month of student loans that are in default. And they said they are willing to go as far as taking money directly out of potentially millions of people's paychecks to recover unpaid debts. Currently, 5.3 million borrowers are in default on federal student loans, accounting for a staggering $1.6 trillion. They say that fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment, and it's an unsustainable system. Under Joe Biden, the Education Department tried multiple times to give broad forgiveness on student loans, only to be repeatedly stopped by the courts. Caroline Levitt said in a statement that debt cannot be wiped away, only transferred to others.
Why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans?
She said starting on May the 5th, those who have not paid will face involuntary collections by withholding money from borrowers' tax funds, federal pensions, and even their wages. So the question is, do you think that this is fair or harsh?
It's a loan, right? You are supposed to pay them back.
Who are these guys, and how do you become one? Well, they're Dev Group, officially known as the United States Naval Special Warfare Development Group, but most people know them by a different name, SEAL Team 6. Formed in 1980, SEAL Team 6 was created to be America's premier counterterrorism unit, but over time, it evolved into something even more secretive. Now operating under JSOC, conducting missions no one else can or will. They do direct action, raids, recon, and counterterrorism. So how do you become one? Well, first, you have to become a Navy SEAL. That starts with BUDS, a 24-week test of endurance, diving, and Hell Week. Then comes SEAL qualification training, another 26 weeks of combat, tactics, survival, and parachuting. After that, you'll serve on a SEAL team for several years. Only then, if you've proven yourself in combat, can you be invited to Green Team, DevGru's 6 to 9 month selection and training course. It's relentless. CQB, explosives, surveillance, hostage rescue. One mistake, and you're gone. Their motto? Quiet professionals, which might be the reason you would ask,
so I have no chance?
So here's me, just casually thinking that like 3/4 of the world are now wide awake to the bullshit narrative and agendas that are getting played against us. Like, I made this video 2 days ago. Have you seen most of the comments in this video? Bro, everybody in these comments is still snoring their head off when it comes to life. Everybody's telling me, bro, have you seen the prisons? Oh, they'll get battered in prisons if they make any type of noise. It's just not worth it. Like, everybody has just totally forgot about these. Read what it says. The leading background casting company in the entertainment industry. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's nothing. That's just a company. That's not enough to say what you're saying. Okay, and you're probably right too, but look at this. Look at one of the jobs that they advertise. Guys to play prisoners willing to let a barber cut your hair on camera. Didn't we see that play out with these El Salvador prisoners like 5-6 days ago? They were all made to bend down and they had their hair shaved. And what about this one?
Wow.
Submissions are now closed. Real ex-cops or people with handcuffing experience, bro, come on. We're in a movie. This is nothing but a movie. Wake up. But anyway, I digress. This is all just for entertainment purposes anyway, TikTok, isn't it? Because none of this is real at all.
This is actress Gao Liu, and this is her after her botched nose job, which was viewed 1 billion times on Chinese social media in 2021.
因为我又是那么在意容貌的一个人，当时我是觉得我这辈子可能就这么毁了。
Her nose job went viral, leading to public outrage after it was botched by an unqualified surgeon, who now claims to be Nose King of Guangzhou. The national database record shows Dr. He Ming only became a licensed plastic surgeon in April 2024, years after the scandal. But he shouldn't have been granted the qualification because of the sanction he received for Gao Liu's botched surgery.
医生，你做这个手术做多少年了呀？
我做鼻子大概有，我是12年开始做的。
哦，12年开始做，那很
这是今年了。
Despite not being properly qualified, Dr. He and clinic staff say that he operates on dozens of patients every week and has been doing so for years.
包括就是很多人就会像当年的我一样，什么都不懂呀，就听说这个医生很厉害，就会盲目的去做，让我一个完好的鼻子，然后毁容到鼻头坏死，多年以后被人称为广州鼻王，其实我觉得还是挺讽刺的。
Gao Liu is not alone. Industry research shows that at least 100,000 cosmetic practitioners are working without the right qualifications because there aren't enough qualified ones to meet the surge in demand. Despite paying tens of thousands of yuan for cosmetic surgery, Gao Liu regrets procedures.
其实我做的项目都是瞎折腾，就是我如果回到之前，我是觉得我任何开刀的手术我都不会做。
Okay, this convinced me. No nose job for me. Me and my Indonesian nose have to get friendly now.
Meet the bloodhound Lil Jeff of Alabama. This guy is the real definition of a serial. Damian McDaniel had been charged with 11 different and 28 different attempted that happened all in the same year. His first drill alone, he would catch 4 hats. On July 13th, 2024, Damian would find out his ops was celebrating a birthday in a hookah lounge. He would come through and spray the whole thing up, leaving 4 and injuring 10 others. His 5th hat was on August 13th. He would break into a 61-year-old man's house, rob him and leave him. He would catch 4 more hats on September 21st. He would find out his ops were eating out at this restaurant. Damian would waste no time and come shoot up the whole restaurant, leaving 4 and 17. His lawyer says after speaking with him, he feels like Damien is not the type of person to do the stuff he's charged with.
If you sit down and talk to him, he's a very gentle, kind person. He's well-spoken. The Damien that I first met doesn't fit the mold of somebody who would do these type of crimes.
Y'all think Buddy gone catch the chair?
It happened at the Vatican. I saw it. We were supposed to meet with the Pope, and I went and I met with several cardinals, I think the good cardinals, and I saw stuff that I had never seen before. That night, we were with, I don't even remember who they were, but they were the most Christ-like, cardinals and preachers or whatever they were. You could tell everybody's guard, in that group, everybody's guard was up. And all of a sudden, and I'm not kidding you, the room dropped 10 degrees. And I happened to be looking at the door way across this huge room. And here comes this guy. So he was the main guy that, you had to get by if you were going to get to the Pope. And I said, holy cow, who is that guy? And the whole group of really nice guys turned around and looked at him. And one of them turned back and went, oh, you can feel that? And I said, oh, yeah. And they were like, oh, good sense on you. Oh, no, he's leading the opposition. So he's the guy, I think, that was helping thwart Benedict. But it's exactly what we saw in 2016. It's what we're now seeing in the EU, where the people with power are just taking people out.
Okay, I don't understand. Is that main guy good or bad?
Like if you watch the Kardashians, there's nothing special about them. And they're billionaires. Like, yeah, they're cute, they have nice clothes. But the whole show is based on very boring people who are living these extremely privileged lives for no reason that anybody can explain. But yet they're the people that people want to aspire to.
Sorry, their mother. She had enough intelligence to turn her untalented daughters into millionaires.
Then your mother was trafficking you to these men that were setting up a meth lab in your basement?
Yes.
Wow. So when you say like alone time with the men, what were the circumstances here? Like what did do you have a memory of like what your mother would do or like the interactions that you had?
Oh, my mother would always go and fetch me from our playroom, and I would go down to the area that we weren't allowed to be in, and it was always like a big mystery, like, oh, this is where mommy always spends all her time. And the men would always come up to me and they would always have something to give to me, and later on I would know that would be considered an icebreaker. So they would either have a toy ready for me or a candy bar, and then that's when I would go off to be alone with them.
Oh my goodness. I cannot get my head around parents who abuse their children.
What if I told you that the billionaire that sex trafficked me is also responsible for why no one can afford a home? You want to know who made housing unaffordable? Or at least contributed? The same billionaire buying up your neighborhoods, forcing the prices to go up, is the same one who trafficked me. I was trafficked to one of them. He used money and power to take bodies and take homes. But now I'm fighting back. This is for every American who cannot afford a home. My federal trial is coming. This isn't about right versus left. It's about us versus unchecked power. You don't have to believe in me. You just have to believe it could happen to you, or your sister, or your neighbor. He thought that I'd stay scared, that I'd stay silent, and that no one would believe me. But he was wrong. We can take them down together. Follow me. Share this. Speak up. Because this is our America, and we're taking it back.
America. Larry Fink would be that man.
Avoid sugar, processed foods, fried foods, additives, and ingredients which you can't read the words.
How about how many times you should eat in a day?
Each person is different. I eat all my food within a 6-hour window. My last meal of the day is 11 a.m. So I fast all the way up till bedtime. So I like 6 eating and 18 fast, but each person's different. I find that is most conducive to the best high quality sleep.
That means you can't rely on the media as it is today either.
Oh, of course not. All the media in this country, radio, television, and print, is all owned
owned by 5 corporations. All of these corporations that own the media are owned and controlled, and members of the Council on Foreign Relations sit on their board of directors. You can trace that yourself. Okay. Remember, if you go down and you trace the ownership of a station or a newspaper, you get to a corporation. Remember that somebody owns that corporation, and it's usually another corporation. You trace the interlocking of all these things. We get to the top, there's 5. All journalists know that there's some things you don't write about, you don't talk about, because you'll lose your job. That's where the control is. That's why they pay anchormen like Dan Rather $2 million a year.
Bill Cooper was a godsend. Too bad nobody cared.
This ATM is so cool. So this is going viral in China right now. It's the first one in the world, and it is a gold melter. So you put your gold in, it'll verify the purity, tell you how much it's going to pay you if you decide to melt, and then it melts the gold live in front of you.
Ooh.
And within 15 minutes, it transfers the money into your bank account. That's the future. If you've ever sold gold before, you know how painful that process is. Whoever brings these first into their countries around the world is going to kill it.
Totally, and I think I've talked about this with you before as well. I think this system on this planet is not circular, it's cubic, and we're all kind of, it's Rubik's Cube sort of thing, and the cube is representative.
Tesseract.
Yeah.
Hypercube.
Yeah. So multi-dimensional cube, and Saturn. The ring now is representative of the controlling force, and I think that the moon, not being a natural object there, somehow is controlling the subconscious, so the human subconscious has been hacked, and then now we're manifesting a reality that is not ours. That is the reality.
So we are being used to
manifest a reality that they want, and that would be.
And who is they finally?
Right. So I think that the Orion.
If you cut out all bread, all pasta, all sugar, all bullshit, I'm not saying this is a great diet. I'm not saying this is the way to live. I'm saying this is the best way for me to eat. I've done every other kind of diet. This one works the best for me, and it's the one that keeps me lean. Because when you're eating just protein, your body hits a satiety level. If you're just eating steak, just steak, your body will hit a level and you go, this is all I need, and then you won't want to eat more. But if I'm in that same mind space, and there's steak there, but it's next to mashed potatoes with gravy, a bowl of pasta, ice cream, then I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to get another 7,000 calories. I'm going to keep going. But if I just eat the steak, then my body starts processing ketones. I start, instead of using carbohydrates, I'm only eating protein and fats. Your body goes into a ketogenic state. You think better, gives you an extra gear with thinking.
Not everyone can afford steak.
The laws of power are understanding human psychology. Never outshine the master. You're creating the appearance that you respect the master, that they are better than you, that you are going to obey them, that you're going to follow them. You're playing that game. Always say less than necessary. You're wearing the mask of somebody powerful who learns to control their tongue and control their behavior. Court attention at all costs. You know the behavior that will get people to look at you and attend to you. Do not build fortresses. You understand that appearing isolated as somebody is very dangerous. You know how to play the perfect courtier. You create the appearance of power. And that is the power game, is creating the appearance of it. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, of course, results do matter. They do figure into the picture. I won't deny that. But the main part of the game, the main part of the laws, are understanding the role of appearances, being a good actor, and knowing how to manage that properly in a group situation.
Become the master. Power isn't earned, but taken. Is from his book.
There are potentially hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people all around the world that are completely off-grid, undocumented, because they were born, raised, and live in these underground tunnels. It goes so much deeper. Underneath the Buckingham Palace, there's a massive tunnel and like kind of a warehouse of people. It's really disturbing.
Damn. Which cryptid do you guys think is a hoax? Like, like Bigfoot's not proven, but there's a chance, maybe.
So is the question, which is the least probable to exist?
Which cryptid have you heard of where you're just like, bullshit, that's not happening.
Okay.
That's not real.
If I can answer it that way and they're not offended, because I feel like that's kind of the
I got
answer.
mine.
Okay, hit me.
I just thought of it.
Hit me.
The Thunderbirds.
Whoa.
Yeah.
The ones that can rise from the ash?
No, that's a phoenix. I'm really
I'm dumb.
God.
I don't know why I went
The
there.
Thunderbirds of like,
Yeah,
they're like
the
in
giant
Oklahoma, Kansas, like the prairie
Like the
areas.
pterodactyl ones?
Yeah. I don't think those are like
Thunderbirds are from here though, dude. That's like our thing.
Well, wherever they're from, I don't think they're real.
Why? Haven't you seen totem
Because
poles?
listen, like
Native Americans have. Dude, don't mess with that.
I'm
shit.
about to tell you that Bigfoot and those things, you know, they're in the woods. They got covered or hiding. These are giant birds in the sky, and you're telling me nobody's got a picture of them? Come on,
UFOs,
man.
dude. I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, there's plenty of UFO pictures.
Well, they get plenty of Thunderbird pictures, but nobody believes those are true.
I've never seen one picture of a Thunderbird.
Because it wouldn't change your mind even if you did.
Yes, it might.
Poop on you. There's no way.
You'd be like, caca on you.
Yeah, dude. This goes back to the AI thing that I was telling you guys about. Is I think this is a bad thing. Now that anyone can generate any image at all, it's going to be even harder to make actual images credible. I think this is a really bad thing.
I think we should just go look ourselves.
Loch Ness Monster. The entire lake has been surveyed and investigated thoroughly with constant observation as we speak.
Do not complain about what you didn't get from the work you didn't put in.
So if I put in the work and don't get it, can I complain?
But we are not native to this place.
No. I think that we have multiple strains of DNA running through there's nobody that's walking here that is native to this place. Certainly very, very, very few.
The Sasquatch native to here?
I think more. How about more native? I don't think that they, if that's.
They've just been here longer.
Yeah. I think that there was a human experiment, and I think we're involved in the human experiment. And the human experiment has been hijacked by a number of different streams of consciousness, species, whatever you want to call them. And I think that we have not been allowed to evolve naturally as an awakening consciousness here, and we've been usurped by another species that has taken over and manipulated and used us as slaves. But I think the human line as we know it now, the human form as we know it now, was created to be a sort of a working slave species and on another prison planet. And this definitely, for sure, is a prison planet.
Lucifer is not the problem. Your mind is the problem. The mind of the human being is the problem. You really want to get ahead of that person that did you wrong? You don't think the karma is going to get them? You really think that God doesn't have angels and you don't have angels assigned to you when you were coming out the cooch? It's just, you have to trust. It's called faith. Believe. Know that He is there. When we look inside the mirror, it has to be because we're looking inside the Bible. That is your daily spiritual food. If you're not reading your word, if you're not in your word deep, and if you're not understanding that this word is real, you're not going to feel how I feel. You're not going to understand what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Because everything that's going on is coming straight from out the Bible. We don't got nothing to fight for. We don't got nothing. All the army people, the CIA, the FBI, everybody is in a spiritual war. They're protecting Jesus Christ. And if He falls off, we all fall off.
Yep. He not crazy. He know what he talking about.
The Goetian demons.
The which demons?
The 72 Goetian demons. They would be the princes and dukes of hell. And that would be the fallen angels. So the gates of the fallen.
First we have King Solomon, which is my favorite. King Solomon was celebrated for his wisdom and his legendary rule over Israel, and he is forever intertwined with the Solomonic grimoires, which is the Greater Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon, also known as the Goetia. These books are ancient texts.
You ever wonder why we're told it's the year 2025? Because it's not, and it never was. This is a deep one, and only those whose magic lens is activated might grasp it. Time has been edited, deleted, and reset, not by accident, but by design. In 1582, Pope Gregory XIII dropped the Gregorian calendar. It replaced Julius Caesar's Julian calendar. And guess what? 10 full days were deleted. Time was literally rewritten. Why? To realign with the sun, they said. But what else got realigned? Now here's where it gets insane. A theory called the phantom time hypothesis says 297 years were completely made up. Yeah, between 614 and 911 AD, possibly fake. If that's true, we're not in 2025. We're in 1728. Let that sink in. Ethiopia never played along. They're in 2017 right now. The Chinese? It's year 4722. Hebrews? 5785. The Mayans? On a whole different timeline. So what even is a year? And here's the twist. Ancient cultures followed a 13-moon calendar.
Ooh.
13 months, 28 days each. Perfectly synced with nature and the cosmos. But 13 was demonized, erased, because 13 represents the divine feminine, the lunar cycle, and balance. Too powerful to leave in play. So why mess with time? Because time is power. If you control time, you control history, identity, spiritual connection. You disconnect humans from nature and plug them into a system. We don't live by nature's time anymore. We live by the machines. And the more you wake up to that, the more you'll realize the clock is lying. If this shook something in you, repost and wake someone else up. And if you're new here, let's stay connected for more insights. Follow us so we can meet again.
I want to know the name of the 13th month is and why they changed, history to cover up the truth.
Now, the evil eye. I was going through what I thought was a depression because I lost a family member. But I understood after 2-3 years, I'm like, listen, I know the person's never coming back. Life is hard. God designed us. We're all going to die. Like, that's a reality of life. It's not normal for me to still be in this state. I was suffering at one point in my life from the worst anxiety ever. It felt like I literally had a ton of bricks on my chest that would never come off, bro. Okay? I went from being extremely extroverted as I am in my state like this, like talk to everyone. When you go on my Instagram, you'll see me with every celebrity in the world. They'll probably watch this episode and hit fucking unfollow.
King of the nightlife.
Yeah. They're probably going to watch this episode and be like, okay, we got to unfollow this guy. I can't be seen in public with this guy anymore. Thanks, Dan. So, like, I'm connected to so many powerful people. I'm one away from people you can't even imagine. Some of the names I don't even want to mention. I know what's coming for humanity. Trust me when I tell you. Okay? And what happened to me was I had this anxiety that would not go away. It was really bad. I had a fear now to even leave my home. I just wanted to stay in my house. I became a hermit, bro, which is like so not like me. I was literally staying in my man cave and playing Xbox so I wouldn't lose my mind because I thought I was suffering from a depression from the loss of a loved one. I had lost my sexual appetite. I had a cloudiness. I could not talk like this, bro. I went from someone that was able to speak in front of large crowds, no fear, give a speech in front of a stadium, no problem, to I just could not articulate the way I articulate now. Very foggy-minded. I would cry for no reason. Like just always in a state of complete sorrow. Very dark, bro. I would fight with those closest to me for no reason. Like argue with my mom, my dad for no reason whatsoever. They didn't even do anything wrong. And it was like a rage that I could not control. And they would leave and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, why did I act like this, right? And just a real fear of to even go outside and deal with anyone. And a constant state of paranoia, fear, depression, all that stuff. After a couple of years of like living like this, literally living in sorrow, bro, such a sorrow, I understood for the first time why people committed suicide. I didn't have those thoughts, but I understood why, because this feeling is such a hopeless feeling. I believe this phenomenon is what they call the evil eye. I believe many of these public people that die are dying from this. The Prophet Muhammad was quoted as stating, half the people in the grave are there from the evil eye.
God never designs us to die.
One of those characters that were doing things to me was like a finger. Like that's how gnarly these demons are. They're so wise,
They're very smart. They have a really serious case of multiple personality disorder, and they can just create, like, dude, I had relationships with these spirits. I had handshakes with these spirits. I had memories with each one of them. Every time I was around different ones, they smelt differently, they tasted differently, they felt differently. One would tell me certain jokes, like, I loved them. I was infatuated. I don't know about men who understand what it is to be married for 10 years and then all of a sudden there's a really cute girl at work and they get this infatuation. They can't stop thinking about her. That is what I had with the devil times like 1,000. I couldn't stop thinking about him. I was consumed, and every day got more exciting. Every day, and I was just chewing my way into the pit of hell, dude. I was gonna burn in hell for forever, without a doubt, if the Lord didn't save me. So the devil puts this on my neck, okay? He puts.
So when you say he puts it on your neck, what do you mean?
He gives me the idea, and then gives me this motivation to just hurry up and go get it tattooed. And I knew I needed it quickly.
And you knew the image, what it would look like.
And, yeah, he told me what it was. He said, get the lotus flower. I was gonna do it purple, but I'm not doing it. We'll get to that. And then the wings, and then it was like a quick thing. Like I got the idea. I went to the tattoo artist, gave it to him, and 2 days later we were doing it, and it was just so quick. Looking back, I can see the urgency. This demon wanted me to get it before I came to my senses. He was just like, hurry up and go get this. And I felt like I needed it. Even my wife was like, are you sure? You know? And I'm like, yes, the Lord wants me to get this tattoo. When my wife comes around, maybe we'll come to another one with you. I looked her dead in the eyes. Jesus wants me to get this tattoo. I was convinced of it, dude. She didn't know. I used to say that to her. The Lord's blood turns me on, and I'd see her face turn white, and she'd be like, and in my eyes, I was like, why are you evil?
Oh my gosh.
I was like, why are you rejecting the Lord, dude? Like, why when I talk about my relationship with Jesus, are you getting sick? I could see it, bro.
Demons aren't wise, they are knowledgeable.
It's Nephilim. It is DNA manipulation, and the whole thing of end times DNA manipulation is as it was in the days of Noah. So as it was in the days of Noah, like what was going on? Well, the only person that came straight from Adam, and that by the time that Noah was around, it says Noah was perfect in all of his generations. He was genetically perfect. He hadn't been contaminated by all these dark and demonic forces that manifested in all kinds of different ways. He was perfect, and he was generationally perfect. That's what the Word of God says. He was perfect in all of his generations. Well, just exactly like that, there's this plan. One of the ways that Nephilim manifests, as you know, the giants that were in the days of Noah, the Nephilim, the Crimea, those kinds of things, they don't just manifest in the giant on the ridge, or the manifest in the hairy creature in the woods, or the skinwalker, or whatever. They hide in God-King bloodlines. They hide in generation in bloodlines. Now, there's always been a seed war. Genesis chapter 3 describes a seed war. The first of 400 messianic promises of King Jesus. Genesis chapter 3 is describing it's 3:15. There's always going to be a war between our seed and your seed. And then you go over into the book of Daniel. He says, hey, the head is as gold, the shoulders are as silver. It goes down to brass, and it gets down to iron and clay mix. And it says this whenever he interprets it in the book of Daniel, and their seed shall mix with yours. Talking about at the end times, that mixing of the seed's going to be a big priority. So if it's transgender, if it's transhuman, it's all about trans, which is transgression.
We may be contaminated, but we have the antidote, the blood of the Lamb. If you know, you know.
And Eve started to procreate. The first murder happened on earth when Cain killed his brother Abel. Right. Okay? That was a tough one. And took his wife because he wanted his wife. Yeah. Once he killed his brother, he took his wife, he went down, because the first human beings lived on mountains. They lived amongst the mountaintops based on this tradition. Okay? Adam commanded his children, do not go down from the mountaintops and do not mix with the children of Cain. So, to my understanding, it was the women of Abel, you know, that community, that were beautiful, the men were ugly, and the men of Cain were handsome, and the women were ugly, or so, vice versa, okay? One side had beautiful women, one side had handsome men, and vice versa. The women were ugly on that one, and the men were... So what happened was the devil Satan, Iblis, our enemy since day one, before we were even created. This started in heaven, not on earth. He shapeshifts, because that's what the jinn can do. The jinn can shapeshift, they can fly, they can possess objects, okay? And we know this from Solomon, and we're going to get into that. He goes amongst the children of Cain as a man, shapeshift, right? They use the term shapeshifters. They're shapeshifters. You ain't teaching people that believe in God anything new with all these fancy terminology. The Greys and the shapeshifters. My friend, demons. Demons. The devil was a shapeshifter. He went to the children of Cain and started banging on things and teaching them how to blow into wind instruments. He taught them how to make music.
Where he got all this story? I thought Cain killed Abel because he thought God loved Abel more than him.
Hear me out, fam. Hear me out, fam.
Hear me
listen,
out,
this video's not
fam.
gonna be for everybody. This is only for the woke people that have been down that rabbit hole.
Woke people.
I'm talking about way, way down that rabbit hole. Now, y'all know the story of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? It's about some turtles that live in the sewers that enjoy eating pizza. Reptiles who live underground that eat pizza.
What?
Now, if you woke enough, you know there's a certain group of people that use the code word pizza to describe certain individuals, right?
Yep. We get it.
And their enemies are Bebop and Rocksteady. Huh. Now, Bebop is a certain type of genre of music, right? And Rocksteady as well. Who created that music? What group of people? And look how Bebop and Rocksteady dress. But yet they made them goofballs. Not very bright. Go figure. Looks like y'all need to realize who really is the good guy and who really are the bad beings.
Okay. It's not woke, it's awake. Two different meanings. I'm awake, I'm not woke.
Listen, I never mean to offend anybody. But when we speak the truth from God's word, a lot of times it is going to step on some toes. And the truth is that this is satanic idol worship. Just because this is rooted in tradition does not excuse it from what is happening here. This literally looks like the entrance to the underworld.
It's creepy. What is
This
going
is the Brotherhood
on?
of the Remedy of Souls, in which they pray for souls in purgatory. Now, as a Bible-believing, Spirit-filled Christian, I am going to tell you the truth, and the truth is that there is no such thing as purgatory. Foundational doctrine of purgatory is that some believers' sins still need to be paid for. They still need to be atoned for. And that 100% just denies the complete and finished work of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross. To say that we somehow still need to help pay for our sins is saying that what Jesus did, the suffering he went through on that cross, is somehow inadequate. This is also clearly involving carved images and idols, which God directly tells us not to do. Exodus 20 verse 4, you shall not make for yourself a carved image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in the water underneath the earth. Religion is from the enemy. Religion is man-made, and religion takes you away from a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. This stuff is normalized in the world today in religion, but God's word clearly instructs against it. There is no such thing as purgatory. We do not atone for our sins. We cannot pay for our sins. That's why Jesus Christ came and died and suffered for us. The work that he did, the blood that he shed on that cross, paid in full for our sins.
In full.
We cannot pray to, speak to, or pray for the dead, and we are not to have any kind of image or idol. God is very clear about these things. So when we participate in these things that God instructs us not to, we are entertaining the demonic realm. There is only God versus Satan. There is only good versus evil. So if you are directly going against something that is written in God's word, you are entertaining the demonic realm, and that is exactly why God instructs us not to do it.
I'm Courtney Tammy.
Wow.
I'm a survivor of satanic ritual abuse and my father's molestation. He is the chief of police, and I'm here today to help end this epidemic of child abuse.
Oh.
I was born into a cult. It's a satanic cult. They have their own special calendar. They wear masks. They always would wear these masks with bones or whatever they wanted to scare you. And it was also a power thing. We would go into the woods and we would play games, which were not games. There's a lot of fire, a lot of burnings of animals, animal skins, humans as well. What scared us the most is, okay, we're doing this to these people that we've trafficked. Why won't we do this to you? You know, you need to be scared for your life because we just did that to this young girl or this young boy. So why wouldn't we do it to you if you're not acting well? So I wasn't able to sleep. I was up at night, and when I wasn't at these events, I was just being abused by my dad and my neighbor.
Wake up, people. The sooner we open our eyes, the sooner it all gets revealed.
And Mac Miller, I don't know if you remember, the 26-year-old rapper who died also of an accidental drug overdose. Pastor Nick had told Page Six that he was just about to see Miller. Miller was just about to walk into his studio on the day that he died. He said, quote, "I was mid-session with someone expecting him to show up about 45 minutes later. One of the ladies who works with me walked in with a kind of blank look on her face and held up her phone, and there was the news release about Miller's death." And then there's Aaron Carter to connect the dots with you, because this one has always bothered me the most. On the very day that Kanye West tweeted out Harley Pasternik's tweets, Aaron Carter responded to Kanye West. You can see that date on November 3rd. Responded to that text message that Kanye shared, and he said, "Yo, Kanye, let's talk man to man." They never had the opportunity to talk because less than 48 hours later, Aaron Carter was found dead. He died at his home in Lancaster, California at the age of 34, and his body was found in a bathtub by his housekeeper. And the LA County Medical Examiner's coroner, and you guys know if you're reading Chaos, that what they rule these deaths means absolutely nothing compared to what the facts are, but that it was just accidental. He drowned after he wanted to speak to Kanye West about the Harvey Pasternik text messages. Harley Pasternik, pardon me.
Doing the Lord works out there.
What's the most amount of money you've ever seen?
$7 million in cash. But according to my father, it was nothing. I met the guy who was taking care of the money. So I asked him, hey, in the golden times that you have with my dad, how much money he was receiving from this business? And he told me that only from the city of Miami, every single weekend, your father was receiving between $50 to $70 million in cash. So imagine Los Angeles, New York, and some other cities. They were using the banks, of course, to transfer the money, and this guy told me that they stopped counting the money. They needed to wait the money because there was more money coming than machines available and people from the bank to count it.
King of Cash.
There's vampires in New Orleans. So yes, there are vampires in the French Quarter, Bourbon Street. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. So if you haven't watched all the other videos on TikTok, please do. Please go watch them. There's a reason why in the Quarter they don't play any bounce.
Yes, I saw a documentary called The Originals.